flight boss, bitch. You know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terry's move. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And we're gonna talk about Tekashi 6IX9's zodiac, aka we're gonna get into his natal chart. Now we ain't got a specific time, but for the most part, you know what I'm saying, I'm Archangel Uriel. You know we gonna break down a motherfucker's ascendant and their moon sign, and the moon sign is the easiest one you can actually do. So we can actually know his moon sign if we don't know the actual time. But for the most part, his ascendant sign make it a little tricky. If you ain't got the actual time to someone's birthday, then you may not know their ascendant time. So if you don't know what part of the day that they was born, whether it's the morning, midday, midnight, whatever like that, you may be thrown off with their personality a little bit until you get that understanding. But for the most part, we're gonna get into this motherfucker shit, and we're gonna understand why he's going through the things he's going through right now. So for the most part, Tekashi 6IX9. Now, Tekashi 6IX9 was born 1996, May 8th, which makes him a mid-range Taurus. Now, what does that mean? Now, this means a person who's kind of in the teenager stages of the Taurus energy. So the teenager stages of the Taurus energy, you know, is people who's kind of fixated in it. And for the most part, this will be the Virgo aspect of Taurus. So he act out Taurus in a more Mercury kind of way. So when you think about him talking a lot, communicating, now this is not for all mid-range Tauruses, but for the most part they are backed and supported by information, but he's enticed on communicating a little bit more forcefully than the average mid-range Taurus. But all mid-range Taurus are backed and supported by Mercury to a certain degree. So you need to understand that also. So for the most part, this makes his sun sign Taurus, which makes his wants, his actions, and what you see from him stable. And it could go into two ways. It can either be consistency or stubbornness. Now, y'all can go on your own analyzation about that. Now, for the most part, his moon sign. Now, since we ain't got his time, right, anytime you put in his date on any natal reading, right, if you're doing it at 12 p.m., the moon sign is going to pop up at very late degrees Capricorn. So we're going to get this in. Now, the moon switch a degree every 2 hours. So you need to keep that in mind. So by him being 27 degrees Capricorn moon at 12 p.m., we got to kind of decipher where his moon is at. Is it Aquarius or is it Capricorn? Because it could either be one of these two. Now, if he was born if he was born during the day at 2 p.m. and above, he is Aquarius moon. If he was born at 2 p.m. and below, all the way to 12 p.m. and 10 a.m. and early in the morning, then he will be a Capricorn moon. So keep that in mind. So let's break down what is a moon. A moon is how a person reacts and responds to the world that they are in. So it's correlated to their state of being, and it's what makes them comfortable. So when we see Tekashi being comfortable at his most comfortable state, and when we see him react to certain things, what was the things that was involved, right? So we have to deal with Capricorn and Aquarius. When we're dealing with Capricorn, this is cardinal Earth, initiating and creating new ways of how to think and be practical. When we're dealing with Aquarius, this is fixed air, being fixated on his own way of thinking and communicating. So what was, when we seen 6IX9 at his most comfortable state, what was he most comfortable doing? I seen him doing a little bit more of Aquarius than Capricorn. Remind you, Capricorn don't even really care about being in the front a lot of times. A lot of times they like to sit back, practicalize, make sense out of things, be calm, cool, and collected, and build their business. And they know how to organize and orchestrate, and they like to use things. Now, the things I seen Tekashi manifesting, aka the moon, the Merkaba, in his life was forms of utilizing gadgets. Look, shit, the first time he got in trouble was because he was recording something with a motherfucking phone. So that's how he caught his motherfucking first underage charge and things of that nature. So for the most part, and then you see him talking a lot. And in his most comfortable state, he's talking and what? Networking, socializing himself with others and other communication styles and things of that nature. So now, and he was making himself a part of things while being the unique and original individual within whatever he was a part of. So he was playing out an energy signature of being a part of something at the same time not being a part of something, but can lead something and be seen for it and can bring these things together. AKA, that is a form of air. That is a form of communication. That is a form of social skills. You know what I'm saying? So and uniqueness and originality, and using gadgets to express these things, and information and communication and networking and organizing and humanitarian work, and making yourself a part of things. And he was given a lot like humanitarian, and he was making himself aligning himself with a bunch of revolutionary or organization type energetic frequencies, aka groupings or gangs or this, that, and third. Motherfucker, that's Aquarius energy. So goddamn it, 6ix9ine was a Taurus sun, Aquarius goddamn moon. Period. And I hate to say was. He is. He's still alive. He is a motherfucking Aquarius moon. So goddamn it, he was born after 2 p.m. And I don't really see a cusp there between Aquarius and Capricorn. So goddamn it, he was born later in the day, not just 2 p.m. Because like 2 all the way to probably 6, 7 at night. Motherfucker, that's still a cusp. You know what I'm saying? Because the moon is still like on 1, 2, 3 degrees of 1 and 2 degrees of Aquarius. Once it slid into 3 degrees Aquarius, that's around the time he was born. And after that, you see what I'm saying? So he was born during going into the nighttime of May 8th. Now, we want to get to his personality. Now, his ascendant, right? So, we didn't got his time, but we got his ascendant, right? So, his ascendant, we got to look at it like this, right? Now, your sun is your actions and your wants. Your moon is your reactions and your needs. So, for the most part, you may not even necessarily know that from a person, but you always going to see a person's aura. You always going to see a person's personality, and that's how they carry out their wants and needs. So, when we seen Tekashi's personality, he was likable, upbeat. And what was one of the most things that he cared about? His hair, right? Now, and what was another thing? When you see him expressing his wants and needs, what was the personality you're getting from him? Expressive personality. He's acting out his words. You know what I'm saying? He might be hyper at times, very aggressive, very un-Taurus-like, right? So 9 times out of 10, God damn it, he's probably a Leo ascendant. That's like some Leo shit. You know what I'm saying? That's care about the hair, colorful hair. He always care about color. You know what I'm saying? He like a life of fire and things of that nature. And also dealing with tattoos being seen. So he had his shirt off a lot and things of that nature. This is Leo-like energy. You being seen, not necessarily the things, but you can make the things that you have look good, aka I'm a Leo ascendant, so I like to make clothes look good. I like to make the star look good and things of that nature. He's more into his hair. He liked to make colors look good. Like he liked to make the things he was doing look good. So it was more about what he was expressing. He was expressing his creativity, and he wanted that to be seen. So Tekashi 6ix9ine, 9 times out of 10, and 6ix9ine is a star. 6 and 9 is a star. So 9 times out of 10, and he was seen. And he knew how to get seen. So 9 times out of 10, this motherfucker is a Taurus sun, Aquarius moon, Leo ascendant. Now, his moon and his ascendant was opposite. That's why what people seen from him, they didn't understand it. But then once they get to know him, they understood that they like him personally. So they like him personally, but the stuff that they seen from him, they didn't understand. It was like opposite to what he truly was, because what he's manifesting in his life is opposite, because who he is his state of being is Aquarius. So he like to socialize, make himself a part of things, like to be unique and original, and use technology and gadgets and phones and shit like that. But then his ascendant is the opposite. He's expressing himself on these things. He's being over-expressive, over the top, over-colorful, over this, that, and the third, and things of that nature. So for the most part, and only seeing things stubborn, not even seeing things in other people's ways, and not even feeling in other people's ways. So therefore, his moon and ascendant is opposite. So that's why he was giving these people these 2 energies and things of that nature, to be very likable, but to leave people not understanding why he's showing and expressing certain things that don't necessarily seem like it's really real, or really it is real though. This is him, and his sun is in Taurus, so he fixated himself in that kind of energy, and this is how he's seen things. So he liked to see loyalty or stableness or stability. He wasn't really emotional. No emotions is dealing with this right now. Just straight thought, practicality, and a little bit of feeling due to his ascendant. But his sun and his moon ain't dealing with emotions, so you really ain't making him feel a lot. Right now, this is where all the feelings is jumping on him now by him being in jail. But for the most part, he's not taking considerations of the feelings and the severity of things the way others are, because his sun and moon is not structured in that way. You see what I'm saying? Then he's very talkative also because of his moon. And then his sun conjunct his Mercury because his Mercury is also in Taurus. So, you know what I'm saying? Already he's seen for his communication or his talking or his analyzing and things of that nature. Now, for the most part, his Mercury is also in retrograde. So this makes a person whose mind is constantly on the past. So people who got Mercury retrogrades, 9 times out of 10, he was very good at communicating past things. So anytime a person know how to communicate a past scenario effectively, this is a person who know how to come across to people in good favors, who know how to gain care from others, because he may knew how to communicate his past woes. And if his past woes was negative ones, then he come across to others as people on his team. You know what I'm saying? You could come across good, but that can only work for so long, to the point that everyone won't feel sorry for you if you keep repeating the same mistakes. You see what I'm saying? Now his Venus is in Gemini. So he love and appreciate and value communicating and talking and talking to others and things of that nature. And then his Mars is in Taurus also. So for the most part, here's what's actually going on with Tekashi right now. What people may fail to realize. What people fail to realize, Tekashi's world came crashing a few weeks before he went to jail this past week, and by him being a Taurus, his Mercury being in Taurus, his Mars being in Taurus, and his Jupiter being in Capricorn, I could almost tell you that things started falling down soon as that Jupiter went into Scorpio. When Jupiter went into Scorpio, that's when things started coming down for Tekashi. When Jupiter went into Scorpio, and then we started to see it, and we starting to see him acting upon these things when the Sun went into Scorpio. Now, remind you, Scorpio is opposite to motherfucking Taurus. And anytime you got a lot of energy, right, you're going to be the example for what people can see. So this is why it's important to be into astrology or watch Archangel Uriel if you're a celebrity. Because you could be on the positive side of energy, or you could be on the negative side of energy, right? So since he was on the negative side of energy, we're seeing the negative aspects of what he have manifested with all the energy that he had. You see what I'm saying? And if he was on the positive side, he will be on another spectrum, and he won't be in jail right now. Now, for the most part, now when we're talking about Saturn, he got Saturn in Aries. Saturn it falls in Aries. It doesn't like to be in Aries under any circumstances, in any scenario. So for the most part, how he gains stability in his life, that's what Saturn is. How you gain stability, how you gain structure in your life, and where you place and also receive boundaries and restrictions and limits. That's your Saturn. He have it in Aries. So Saturn is weak here. Saturn don't like to be in Aries. So he's seen no boundaries and limits. So he had to actually experience it firsthand in order to know that that was a boundary and a limit to not do something. Also, when it comes into the way he gained stability in his life, it was very spontaneous, it was very reckless, or it was very careless, but it was backed and supported by creativity and imagination. It wasn't backed and supported by structure and making sense and practicalizing and planning. The way he got a job, the way he gained stability in his life, the way he gained structure in his life based upon a person, place, or thing or resource was initiating and creating new ways of how to see and feel about things, which is Aries-like. So he did that in a creative way. He did that in a maybe spontaneous way, and in a lot of times maybe destructive way. But this is the way how he gained stability in his life. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Now, he got heavy impacts on him due to the fact that Jupiter is meanings, reasonings, wisdom, and knowledge and experiences. So it brings the lightning strike down in there everybody's lives, aka quick enlightenments, quick experiences, quick wisdom, quick knowledge, very fast. So, you know, when Jupiter was in Scorpio, right, it was opposite to his Sun and his Mercury and his Mars. So for the most part, his intent, passions, and motivations was at odds with the energy of today. You know what I'm saying? His actions, the way he acted, how he see things, was at odds with the energy of today. And the way he think and how he communicate and how he analyze about things was at odds with the energy of today. So since he was on the negative side of energy, by the energies being opposite to him today, and by him also being on the negative side of energy, he got washed up by the current. So things became out of his hands. He became overwhelmed and he got drowned. So for the most part, this is why it's important to know astrology. Now, here's the thing, right? Jupiter brings experiences in everybody's life. So when you have it oppositing you, it becomes your ops. So his actions in his life is in Taurus, the way he thinking, and then his intent, his willpower, and his passions, and his motivations, and his tensions is in Taurus. So he was going full force with it. But since he probably wasn't into astrology and wasn't around people who was trying to put him on the game, onto Archangel Uriel, and he probably did watch my videos, but he probably wasn't watching it for this kind of sense. You know what I'm saying? It put him in a circumstance, a situation where his actions wasn't relative to what was going on in the world. So the way the world was going, the wave was opposite to his actions and how he act and the way he was thinking and his passions. So the wave of the world was things against him, like the feds and shit like that. So he couldn't even see it. It was opposite. And he couldn't jump rope right because he's not into astrology. So and he wasn't watching Archangel Uriel. So it was too late before he was able to jump rope. And then Jupiter have already came and passed on and went into Sagittarius. Soon as motherfucker Jupiter went into Sagittarius, boom, experiences are more rapid now. So now it left his opposite. Now he finna experience something opposite to what he wants to experience. And now this experience has to be back to supported by learning, wisdom, knowledge, meaning and reasoning, because it's in Sagittarius right now. So for the most part, this is what all of us is forced to learn from our experiences. So since whatever wave or whatever side of the energy he was on, he have to learn wisdom and knowledge from. Now, it hurts that, you know what I'm saying, it's jail meaning and reasoning. It's not no money learning process. It's a jail learning process, just because of what kind of side of the energy he was on at the time. But for the most part, this is the wisdom and knowledge that he's learning from the experience. And now he have to come to a broad conclusion on how to see and feel about this and come up with a strong moral system. Because we all got to come up with moral systems right now because Jupiter is in Sagittarius. So we all got to come up with moral systems right now. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you're going to sustain yourself through this astral travel until Jupiter goes into motherfucking Capricorn. But as far as it was in Scorpio, you know what I'm saying? All of us, our experiences was deep. You know what I'm saying? So we was going through deep experiences, but we was also able to indulge into our experiences. You know what I'm saying? And be blinded by it. Now the flashlight is there. The light is there. The fire is there. It's in Sagittarius there. Now we have to see what we was in. So whatever we was in, we actually see that shit for what it is now by it being in Sagittarius. And then damn, by him having this Taurus energy, he was already an opposite. So he was catching it worse than... So just imagine if Tekashi 6IX9INE was watching my videos when I was breaking down Jupiter in Scorpio all those times. Damn. You know what I'm saying? It is for Shadi and all them motherfuckers. I think Shadi are Aries. So Shadi and 6IX9INE actually have a chance right now with Uranus actually going back into Aries, because Uranus is in retrograde. So Uranus have slid his grown grumpy ass back into Aries, which is 29 degrees Aries. It's still in Taurus, cuspy, but it's in Aries. So for the most part, that means Uranus represents uniqueness, originality, but also change, rebellion, and opposition. You can't have one without the other. For something to be unique and original, it has to change, rebel, and oppose against something that was previously there. So for the most part, it brings changes. That's what Uranus is. So for the most part, in Aries, it brings rapid change, because Aries is cardinal fire, initiating and creating new ways of how to see and feel about things. So with Uranus there, it's going to change the way people see and feel about something. So this can deal with paperwork. This could deal with someone getting bail. You know what I'm saying? And all kind of shit. So Tekashi kind of got that working because his Saturn is in Aries. So that means his reality, how he see reality, can change right now. Or his reality and everybody involved into his reality can do a rapid change right now. They got to hurry up and use his lawyers and shit. They got to hurry up and use this Uranus energy though before it go fully back into Taurus. Because it only got a piece of Aries. It's not even fully in Aries. It's still solidified. It's still solid and stable, because Taurus is solidified, consistent, stable. And since Uranus is in his sign, Taurus, he's experienced a lot of changes and a lot of opposition right now, just within his actions and his mental, Mercury, and then his intent, passions, which is Mars, and his actions, which is his sun. But by it being a little bit of Aries right now, there's a little piece of hope. That's why everybody's still putting up videos about him, because Uranus is in Aries. So his reality is in Aries. His Saturn is in Aries. So for the most part, you know, if his lawyer could be practical, make sense out of things, hurry up and get all the limitations and practicalities out the way and shit like that, and put structure there. He might get a little sense of hope. And Shoddy, if he's an Aries sun sign, I think he is, of how he see things and his actions and his viewpoints and how people see him and looking over his paperwork, that can actually change right now, do a rapid change right now too. So it could be a unique and original change. And that unique and original change can change, rebel, and oppose against something that was previously there, aka what they're previously charged with. So they got a little bit of hope due to Shoddy's sun sign and due to Tekashi Saturn sign. Now, if they lawyers can't tweak those, that's it. Now, Tekashi got a little bit more money and a little bit more social spirit energy with him, aka other people's spirit putting him in a better light than him. So so that energy could be manifested more to his favor than Shoddy and Mel Murder and all these other, and all the other motherfuckers and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Chalk your body. Yee-hee. Chalk your body, Marcus Garvey. Niggas ain't knew I flew for the Taliban. Cleveland, Youngstown, Cincinnati. You know, shout out to Killer Cam. You know what I'm saying? When he brought the purple haze through on this motherfucker. But that's a whole nother video. You see what I'm saying? But we talking about Tekashi right now, you know what I'm saying, and the situation and the circumstance that he's going through. But niggas need to understand that being a circumstance or a situation with Uranus being in Aries, they got a small piece and a small chance. And Tekashi got it with his Saturn, which is his reality, and everybody that's in his reality and how he gains structure in his life. That could change for the better or worse. But he's already in the worst, so it can change for the better. And Shoddy, due to his actions and the way he sees things and what he's consciously aware of, that can change. Now, that might not get him out of jail. See, Saturn could get you out of jail. Saturn means business. The sun sign is just how you're seen. So Shoddy might just can change the way he see things and become something else within jail. But people probably can still see him out. It's a lot of different scenarios that if lawyers was astrologers, it'd be something else in this motherfucker. A flight boss, bitch, goddamn air. And that's Tekashi's motherfucking zodiac, and that's what the fuck he's going through right now. So yeah, he's heavy squared up with a sun in Taurus, moon in Aquarius, ascendant in Leo. Goddamn, he went through a lot of learning processes in his life. His whole life is a learning process. As a spirit, he came here to fucking learn. And he had to learn from his actions and reactions and other people's actions and how other people react. And he may not knew how to effectively bring these together. He may not knew how to decipher how a person is reacting and how to pinpoint people based upon their characteristics and things of that nature. So, you know, he was dealing with heavy energies. And his energy was up. His energy was up, though. Anytime you got a lot of squares and oppositions, your energy gonna be up. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.